The Sarah Padres are the CCS champions for the third time in a row following a 13-0 perfect season. They continue on the road to state 2022 with their next big game on December 10th against the St. John Bosco Braves. Hello and welcome to the Sarah High School Football Podcast. I'm Amy Strain, Director of Marketing Communication, here with Patrick Walsh, head coach. This is a great podcast, but it's actually our last of the season, likely.
Yep.
But welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And as they may say, nothing gold can stay.
I love that. And that is kind of the theme riding into this Road to State championship game, which we play on Saturday at Saddleback College in Mission Viejo at 8 p.m.
Yep.
First off, we got Batman going today, so I figure we have to mention that first. More important than the state game right now.
Well, I've been fooling around all week with these funky Christmas outfits, and it's time to get serious, so I went with a Batman Christmas outfit.
That's right.
Which is still funky.
And that's your favorite character, right?
Batman is my favorite character. That is correct.
Aside from Mickey Mouse, because we love Disneyland, right?
Mickey Mouse is not on the list. I respect it, but not on the list.
Awesome. Well, I do thank you for being here. We had a great conversation with Coach Negro last couple days ago. That was awesome. It was so nice to hear a little bit more about the St. John Bosco program, and it was many parallels, which was really cool.
Yep.
So we're really excited to get down there and play a class program as well. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys have been up to this week from like a Sarah Padre focused?
Yeah, just honing in on the game plan. We've been working on it for 2 weeks and getting out in the practice field and knowing that each day is the last day and enjoying those moments together.
Good.
It's always great to play in the championship game because of that.
Sure.
You know, it's your last Monday, your last Tuesday. We did our last gassers last night for the seniors, and all that's celebrated because it is the last. There's nothing more we can do. Whereas in the previous weeks, it's almost it'll be a tragic ending if you didn't get the opportunity to run the gassers and do all the work that we're doing this week. So, we just really enjoyed living our last moments together as the 2022 Padres and all the special things that we've done together, the relationships that we've built, and each day is the last one. And we're, for us, it's all about time,
right?
And understanding that our dash ends Saturday night at 11 p.m. or so, whenever the game ends, and we know that we live this year to the fullest, and we're going to continue to do that all the way through the bitter end.
Awesome. You certainly have. I mean, a 13-0 season. It's made program history, right? Three CCS championships in a row. Now, can you just tell me a little bit about what your plans are, just specifically? So you've got tonight is your last on-field practice, right?
Yeah.
Can you just kind of run us through till Saturday?
Yeah. Thankfully, we've done this back-to-back years, so we took what we liked from last year and kept it and threw away all the stuff that we didn't like about planning. And moving 120 human beings to Southern California is never an easy task. It requires a lot of teamwork and a lot of help from our administration. And I have to tip my hat to Justin Ferdinand and Mary Beth Ortiz and everyone that's just really helped us do everything to schedule this whole thing. But we've chartered a plane again. We're flying out of the private section of the Oakland airport, flying into Long Beach, which is real special for everybody.
Very cool.
It's a really cool thing that we had some benefactors come through and do that for us once again. And for me, this is, even though we've done it 2 years in a row, we may never do this again. And we don't bank on things like that. So if we're going to play in the highest level of competition in the state of California, which happens to be maybe in the country, because California plays the best football in the country. I know Texas is great, Florida's great. They play great football in New Jersey and Ohio, but some could say, well, we are playing the number one team in the country. So that sort of game requires a high level of treatment. And these kids have earned it. So I got them T-shirts, I got them jackets.
The jackets are sweet.
The jackets came out nice. They're individualized by the player. They get their name and number on it. And I want us to look good when we're roaming around the hotel. Like I want us to feel together, like we're our own little Padre gang, if you will.
Right. That's great.
We're a unit. We're together, and that's something that we've celebrated all year. So, we have some clothing to match that whole thing. When we walk around in other areas, I want people to know that we have a very successful organization built on things that matter, like manners and being good humans and please and thank yous. I've already told this team every day, behavior, while it's always been at the key for what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Hence our, I think, 7-game win streak now with no penalties in that area. Thank God. We had problems earlier because we're human. And we've continued that kind of proper behavior. And when we're in somebody else's rooms and hotels and people's businesses. We're going to expect that to ramp up. So, yeah, we're going to fly down there, jump off the plane. We're going to go to our hotel, check in, and then we're going to go to the other Sarah, which is J Sarah, down in San Juan Capistrano.
Very nice.
We're going to practice there, and then we're going to go do our chapel service and team dinner. And then we're going to reload the buses and get on and head over to the De La Salle game.
Very cool.
Which starts at 8 o'clock. And it is the De La Salle game because we're NorCal, and we obviously have Spartan roots here.
I was going to say, you get to root for
We
them.
will be rooting for De La Salle with all of our heart and energy and enthusiasm. Go Spartans.
Very cool.
Feels good to say that. We love Justin, and we obviously had an amazing game together this year on ESPN. And but that night, we're all Spartan fans, at least. I'm going to ask the Sarah guys. They may not be, but I will
For
be.
one day they can.
My brother said he's going to wear De La Salle gear, and I said, of course, you're an alum. You can. So Coach Eagle's going to be wearing some De La Salle stuff at the game.
That's great.
I don't know if my kids I don't know if the Padres will let me do that, but
Yeah,
I'm going to stay in the Sarah stuff. But we're really excited about that. It starts at 8, so I don't know if we'll stay the whole game, but just show the love that we have for NorCal football and for the Spartans, and then get the game day running on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. And so what does that entail? Do you do a practice? Do you guys, how do you condition them mentally and physically, I guess, for an 8 p.m. start? That's kind of late for us.
So last year we left today. We left on Thursday, and it got long.
Well, it was a big delay at Oakland.
And
right?
we were delayed
That's
4
right.
hours, which kind of was like, wait, didn't we charter this plane? I guess it doesn't work that way all the time.
Well, didn't we get some of the best video, though? There were some good
There's
dance
some
moves
great
going
dancing,
on, like for the delay there.
We
from
made the
last
most
year.
of our 4-hour delay. What we learned is when people charter planes, other people are also chartering those planes. And if
The world doesn't stop for the Padres. Bye.
no, I was wondering, I thought we had our own plane. We really don't. That thing is flying around to other charters or whatever, just like regular travel when, we've all faced delays and all these things, and if something breaks on a plane, you don't want to get on that plane, obviously. So, but what we learned last year was we went down Thursday. We had to leave school early. We kind of did a janky practice here on Thursday, just in, so we're leaving tomorrow, which is a lesson from last year was
Bright and early.
so
too.
everyone's in school right now. We stay at school. We only miss one day of class, which I know the teachers and administration really, really appreciate, and it's good for them too.
Especially right before
finals are coming right up.
Yeah, exactly.
The timing of the state championship game is not ideal for finals.
Right.
So something that obviously we want to deal with, and then game day is a long day. We kick off at 8.
That's really late.
And it's a very, very late kickoff. So how we organized that last year has totally changed this year. We're going to spend more time in the team hotel. We are going to practice and watch some film at Orange Lutheran High School, which is right next to our hotel.
Oh, great.
And so we've, I got Eric Borba and Coach Rod down there is, buddies of mine. So I've known those guys for a long time, and they've graciously opened up conveniently the closest place to us. So we'll be watching film, doing a practice run through, get our minds right, go back to the hotel, team dinner, bus, get down there and
Game
play
time.
the Braves. Yep.
And so how do you keep, I can only imagine the nerves you feel game day. The players, how do you kind of keep them? That's a big task, right? There's a lot of kids, a lot of nerves, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
You want to call it that game day anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
What is your strategy on that?
Well, that's not my job at that point. My job will basically assist and follow this team. Now that we are who we are, this is now I'm in a followship role. I am more of one of the Indians, and I'm following the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. Chiefs early on are the coaches and the captains, and this is a team now that we are a part. The coaches are humbly now a part of their team, so we're following them now. And up to that point, and I told this on this podcast earlier that we were suppressing egos and trying to hold back positivity, and that we're done with that. So now we are the Padres. We are going down south. We are who we are. I'm following the confidence and the strength of this team and our leaders. So they're going to be confident on Saturday because this is where we want to be. Mm-hmm. The emotions and all those things will be there because it's an energetic experience. But in terms of nerves, naturally they'll be there. We have some experience from last year. Mm-hmm. But, the guys on the field are going to breathe, and they're going to put out their best effort, and that's all we can hope for.
Awesome. And how do you think that last year's experience has benefited the team?
Oh, it's dramatically. Yeah, dramatically. Because a lot of those guys actually played in this game. Dylan Judier played in this game.
Right.
McGovern played in this game. Joey Villarroman was down there but didn't play in the game. But, all
Had
these
the
guys.
experience, at
Yeah,
least,
Malawaki was down there. And then the defensive guys, a lot of those guys were on the field against Mater Dei.
They were.
And, while we didn't have the game we wanted, they had some success, and there's mistakes that were made, and just a general overall attitude that we went into that game that's going to be different in this game because of that experience. And you can't replace experience. And I think the reason why you can't, that term actually matters is because you have to fail and succeed, but mostly failure. Failure makes up great experience. Like, I remember when I failed there. I'm not going to do that. That was a mistake I made. Again, pit learning, getting in the dark pit and feeling that pain or feeling whatever. And then your life kind of changes because you're trying to avoid that.
Stay away from that
Stay away from that pit, right? So, and I think that will really serve this group, mostly from an attitude perspective.
Definitely.
Still playing a great team and all that stuff, but the attitude is different because of the experience last year.
That's great. And do you feel like this week, I mean, like you said, a lot of laughs, a lot of emotion, a lot of, hype, obviously too. And do you feel like the team is in a good spot?
I do. Yeah. I feel like they've handled this week very well.
Great.
I feel like they've really worked hard and locked in on the game plans, and there hasn't been a lot of goofing around at practice. It's been very businesslike. And again, one of the benefits of not having lights is the fact that we have to be efficient. We do not have time to mill around in the locker room, to roll out at 3:20. And, so everything has been very, very tight because our friend Helios is gone by 5:00.
Right.
So this is actually a benefit
dark
this time of year.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time to do anything but just focus and practice and then go home.
Definitely.
So
great.
I think the team's had a nice week.
Good. And then I heard a few people rumbling just like about, and I think we touched on this last week, just the fact that it's a 13-0 season, like a perfect season. The boys feel a little bit more like they've earned it this year instead of, last year they earned it as well, but it was more a football math kind of thing that kind of brought them in. Do you feel that that's playing a role as well?
I definitely do. Yeah. And I know it has for the coaches too.
Good.
So that Sunday call I got last year, it could have gone in three directions: Folsom, De La Salle, or Sarah. And there was arguments on, message boards or whatever, of people making arguments that this team should go, this team should go, this team should go. And that it kind of went into our psyche of it in a way, like, all right, well, we get to play in this game.
Right.
Like, we get to play in this game in 2021. This year, we earned the right to play in this game in 2022. There's no doubt about it. Right. We're the undisputed Northern California champion this year. And because of that, there's nowhere else to go. Not that we want to, and we don't want to. This is the only place to go. We're the best team in Northern California in 2022. And I feel very proud and honored to say that, because we are. And we're going to take that badge, and we're going to take that flag, and we're going to carry it down to Southern California, and we're going to knock our heads against the best team in Southern California in 2022, which turned out to be the Bosco Braves.
Exactly.
So there isn't any mystery about it, and I think maybe some of the mystery last year added to maybe some doubt and some other things, and what if we played this game? Would we have a better chance of winning here? And all these other weird thoughts. Again, I'm very proud because it laid the foundation. We got to play in that game, and that 2021 team had the best 20 days maybe in Sarah history, from November 6th to November 26th.
This is pretty big.
Just a brilliant turnaround that led us to that point, which is now a gift for the 2022 team.
That's great. Well, wonderful. Well said. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So moving along, I know that last week or actually earlier this week, it seems these days are flying by, but when we were talking with Coach Negro, you didn't want to get into the specifics of his team, but it is a question I feel like I have to ask. What are you thinking in terms of your attack strategy plan? Anything you can give us there? I just have to ask it because I know people are wondering.
Sure. Well, there's no hiding the fact that they're an extremely dominant football team.
Right.
And they have 43, 46, I don't know, over 40 Division I players on their team. Everybody knows that. And we can't change that, nor do I want to.
Right.
And it's not a part of what we are, a part of our culture. I really don't care. I care about the livelihood and the well-being of the St. John Bosco Braves, because they're friends of ours and they're a great football team, and I really appreciate how they do business. But I don't care about the Braves. I don't care about them. I care about the Padres. And all we can focus on is ourselves. And all we can focus on is the greatness that we have in our team, and the love and the relationships and the brotherhood and the humility we have in our team. I don't care about St. John Bosco. I don't care where their kids are going to college. I don't care their height and weight. I don't care because I'm going to assume that they're all going to college and they're all the biggest, strongest, fastest people we've ever played against,
right.
which they are. And the other 13 teams, or 12, because Mater Dei played them twice, have had to deal with it as well. And I don't care. You know, we can get lost in that. I think maybe last year I got lost in that with Mater Dei. Okay, oh my gosh, this guy's this guy's this guy's this. I mean, it's a very rare. There's only 2 of these type of teams in the country. There's only 2 of them. I would say that these 2 teams, you know, are power ranking and favorites over every single team in the country.
It's crazy, right? Crazy to think about that. I mean, what is that? I mean, that speaks volumes to the Cerro Padres too. That's just so cool that
it is. And
played them both, or will play.
We play them both, and we have our own measuring sticks against them. And obviously, we lost 40-something to 7 last year, and you know, we had opportunities to score 21 points. We rushed for over 200 yards against Mater Dei, which no one else even rushed for 100 yards.
Right.
I mean, there's some great plays on defense and things to celebrate, which is not really what real competitors do. Like, it's hard to celebrate a 40-7 loss.
Right.
Got to find some silver linings in games like that. I thought our competitive nature was high, and I was very proud of that team for doing that. But really, this whole experience or that whole experience has afforded me now the opportunity to spend all my time on these guys.
Right. Like
I just said, I'm following them. They want to be here. This was the goal of this team early on, and as it started to formulate, it was guys like Seamus standing up and saying, "We want to go back. We need to be back here. We don't just get to go. We need to earn our way back there." Hence his great play on the goal line against Folsom, and
right.
Dylan's kick against De La Salle, and all the great games we had in the WCAL, and you know, we were behind against Central Catholic, and, you know, we've lost some players, and this is something that this team needed to have. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm centering my attention on. That's the only thing we can do. Now, do we know if they're an even front and an odd front, and they, you know, what formations? And of course we're doing that. And I'm not going to tell you anything about that. Last thing I'm going to do is give St. John Bosco more advantages than they already have.
Totally.
Sorry, Amy. Sorry to ruin it.
I just figured I wouldn't. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you.
So you did your job, and I know all these loyal Bosco listeners are just hanging on every word, but I'm going to give them absolutely nothing, except you guys are a great team. That's what I'm going to give you. That's it.
Very cool. Well said. I just figured I'd have to ask if you're going to give us any little detail. We'd want to hear it first here.
0.
So, okay, good. Well, can you actually give us an update on Father Joe? That was a question that we got. There are a bunch of call-out questions from the last 2 podcasts that I'm going to get to in a minute, if that's okay. Sure. But Father Joe was a common theme, as he always is, around this football stadium.
He's been moved to St. Mary's Hospital, the rehabilitation center there, where he's doing rehab 4 or 5 times a day.
Oh, wow.
And we're trying to get him mobile again. And he's fighting a good fight as only Father Joe can. Of course. He is improving.
Spiritual warrior, as you say.
He is the spiritual warrior. So he is improving. He's still battling. He still needs prayers and love from our community and communities around whoever's listening. But he's battling. He's battling. And he's an older gentleman with a 17-year-old heart, so it's not going to be a simple battle.
Right.
You know, for most of us, if we break our leg, you know, hey, we throw a cast on it, we heal up in, you know, a couple months, and we're back on, you know, running marathons. This is not Father Joe's fight. Father Joe's fight has led to other challenges, but the biggest challenge is to get him back moving around again. Thankfully, his heart is still strong. His heart is pumping and beating that Padre blood, and you know, just the prayers and love from the community are definitely felt. That he wanted me to let everyone know that as well.
Great. Well, we love you, Father Joe. I know that you've taught him now how to listen, so I want to make sure that we say that.
Yes, we love you, Father Joe.
And honestly, Father Joe, lots of questions about his recovery and prayers. So, but then I'm just going to ask a couple others. A lot of questions came in about the college transfer portal, and I wondered if you could kind of explain it and maybe give us your opinion on it.
Yeah, there's 2 major things that have changed in the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 years that have altered the scape or the landscape of collegiate recruiting as it relates to high school. One is the transfer portal, which you just mentioned, and the other is this NIL, name, image, and likeness deals that any human being can sign. So if I wanted to sign you and pay you $1 million for your name, image, and likeness, you could. Okay? Now, you're not a high school and or a college athlete, but they can too. So there used to be these amateur rules where they couldn't do that, where they, like Adidas could come tomorrow and say, hey, Jojo Bay, we want you to be the face of this new campaign and we're going to pay you $10 million, which would be great. He can sign that deal now for his name, image, and likeness. Now, he couldn't use a Padre logo, but he could wear blue and gold or something like that. But he could sell that, and that was entirely illegal as of, I think, maybe 3 years ago, maybe 2. And so people are profiting from that.
Are you seeing that a lot? I mean, are there any?
Not at the high school level,
Okay.
not around here, but I do know some athletes in Southern California, some female athletes,
Okay.
who have millions of followers on Instagram and TikTok that are getting NIL deals.
Interesting.
So it is happening. And the state of California, there are rules against NIL deals in other states, but in California, it's open season. There is no rule against it.
Wow.
So in a way, I really appreciate that, because if someone has a gift or if someone has influence and it's done correctly, then that person should get paid for it. Who's to say that that person shouldn't be able to profit off something that they're doing extremely well? In an ironic twist, when I'm not a big soccer guy, but the English Premier League is the most capitalistic market in the history of markets, because there's no salary caps. There's no rules. If you want to go into one of our guys that I've heard recently, it was 16 years old, got bought by a German team, I believe.
Wow.
I could have this totally wrong, but they paid him millions of dollars to go be on the German team. And this happens all over the place in soccer. But here we have salary caps. You can't pay him that much. It's not fair that the Niners can spend more money than the Broncos. Right. So this is like true capitalism that has no boundaries, which is kind of the problem now. So there is at least some boundaries in NFL with stuff. With the transfer portal and now combined with NIL, there's no boundaries.
Interesting.
Meaning a kid can just go from, let's say I'm committed to where I went, San Jose State. Went to San Jose State, I'm not happy. I'm throwing my name in the transfer portal. The risk of that is I'm telling San Jose State I'm out. And this is happening all across college football. I'm not happy at San Jose State. I'm going to go to the transfer portal, and then I get nothing. Now I've just given up my scholarship.
Wow.
You're going to hear about the crazy stories where a guy goes into the transfer portal, he gets $8 million from blank college, from the NIL deal, and now he's a quarterback at blank college. That's happening all the time too. But what you're not hearing is the ones that go into the transfer portal. I heard today there's 1,200 kids in the transfer portal and 70 quarterbacks. 70.
Wow. Gosh.
Okay? So think if you're a college coach now. I'm a college coach. There's 1,200 kids that want to transfer, which means they're open. Now there's 1,200 more kids to recruit. 70 of them are quarterbacks. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that kid played at Clemson last year. Didn't play much, but he played at Clemson. I need a quarterback at Memphis. So now the Memphis coach, and this is all made up, by the way. I don't know if this is happening
Right. This is
specifically.
just, yeah.
I'm just saying. But now the Memphis college recruiters and college staff is looking at the transfer portal Clemson quarterback, which is now he's not recruiting the high school quarterback out of South Carolina.
Right.
Or Memphis or wherever.
Like a trickle down.
It already has trickled down. And what the portal's done is it's reduced the amount of opportunity for high school and junior college players. Sadly.
Yeah.
This is no fault of anybody's. This is a cost of the freedom that the transfer portal gives kids. I respect freedom, as people know. I respect it. I respect choice. And if someone's miserable, they shouldn't be tied to something that they're not happy with, right? It's like, oh, I got you for 4 years, like I own you. No, I'm going to the transfer portal. You don't own me. I'm going somewhere else. That is healthy, I think, and that is positive, and something that I think is good about the transfer portal.
Right.
For example, just one of our kids, right, Christian Pedersen,
Yep.
went to Louisville, went during the 2020 weird I can't travel time.
Right.
Didn't really get a good feel for where he was. Or I don't know all these specifics from Christian, but whatever, didn't work out. Went to the transfer portal, and yesterday he signed with FIU, Florida International University, and he's happy as can be. Visited there, got to see it, got to meet the coaches, like kind of traditional stuff.
Right.
So in that regard, it's very, very positive, right? Now that's one less tight end FIU needs to recruit from high school and junior college.
Right.
So that's how I see it. How I feel about it, probably just goes through the eyes of the recipient. Mm-hmm. So
the individual story, right? I mean, how did it turn out? What was it before, though? Like, what was there? Was it just an open?
I would say everything's reversed. So college recruiting, basically, the king of where they built their teams was high school football. And then junior college football, and then maybe there's some transfers that could help us out. Mm-hmm. It's kind of flipped. It's definitely flipped. So now transfers are king. Because think, I can get a 21-year-old kid who has 2 years of college experience at Georgia. I mean, we're not Georgia. We're a great high school football program, as we know, but we're not Georgia. We're not competing at that level. Then you can do apples to apples comparison about a kid who played a few reps at Georgia versus an SEC team. Man, we could really use that guard at Ole Miss.
Right.
So it's flipped, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, as we were talking, I wanted to mention it was an exciting week here at Sarah with college recruits.
That was amazing.
College recruiters, excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Because you've had a lot. I mean, you've really put an emphasis on welcoming these coaches. That you started it. I mean, you've done it for years, but you and Darius have done an amazing job of bringing people in. And this week we had some big names.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to mention that.
Yeah,
but,
I'd love to.
We threw it all over social media, so may as well.
It is. It's public. And it's one of those things where I think we've done about as good as anybody when it comes to connecting with college coaches and getting kids into college. And a lot of it is because of personalities, relationships, human relationships with people, being here for a long time, being close to San Francisco airport. People fly in, they come here. For example, the Michigan State coach flew from Detroit, flew into San Francisco airport, came to Sarah because he's recruiting a couple of our kids for 1 hour, got back on the plane and flew back to Michigan.
Amazing.
He recruited here for 1 hour, and I posted that on Twitter, which, by the way, is a new thing for me, is posting things on Twitter, because I'm just going to be honest with our listeners. It was someone told me that you don't do a good enough job getting kids into college. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Like, okay, perception's reality. So I didn't, humbly I said, okay, fair enough. Well, we're building a website that we're going to launch that shows the hundreds of kids we've sent off to college in all different levels, from junior college all the way up to wherever, the highest levels of college football. And we're going to continue to do that. This Twitter and the public domain now, social media, can be a total pitfall. But I think it's cool when the head coach of Penn State comes here and you take a picture in a funky suit that he laughed at, and we send it out to Twitter and say, hey, oh my gosh, Penn State was here to recruit Sarah High School.
Right.
So now people, and I feel like I was kind of dragged into this. Like this is not really, if you look at my Twitter history and tweeting, like I'm not a big Twitter guy. And I was during Let Them Play because I saw it as an opportunity to share information
everyone was at home
and to garner support for our kids, right?
Get the word out.
And it's something that I think is unique to Sarah in a way, because we are the coaches that we are, and we are the players that we are, and the program that we are. People love to be here. So Arizona was here, Michigan State was here, Miami was here, Penn State was here. Coach Brent Brennan from San Jose State. I'm so excited. He's coming today.
Like really?
One of my great friends of all time in college. Like we have Terrence LaVille down there. Like, we need our guys to stay local and go to Cal, Stanford, San Jose State. I love that. And so
San Diego State too.
San Diego State, University of Washington, head coach, and Coach Grubb, who's really dear friends with Coach Bell.
Yep.
I mean, the Rolodex is ridiculous here at Sarah. And if you wanted to pull up my phone and be like, college recruiter, oh, I know that guy, like, we can do that. We can have a Rolodex off, but I don't really feel like I need to do that.
Rolodex off.
Seriously, because it's like, oh, I know this guy at this school. Like, who cares? None of that's going to matter anyway. Like, for everyone that's listening that actually cares, and like, you want to, like, reality is God is the number one entity when it comes to recruiting. Because God and genetics are the number one thing that people are looking for in recruiting. It's the way it is. Right. And it's hard to get that point across. It's really, really hard to get that point across, even to me as a 17-year-old kid. I understand that more than anybody, because I was this, that, blah, 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 California, this and that. But genetically, other guys are better than me when it comes to Notre Dame football. And I wanted to go to Stanford or Notre Dame. Those were my top two choices. But in reality, if I'm going to go back into my 17-year-old self and say, hey, why don't you pull up the rosters of the running backs at Notre Dame and Stanford and see if they look anything like you. Okay? Well, they're 6'2", 230 pounds. They're faster than you. They're bigger than you. Like, that's so – and I say that, I think people know me now as like, reality is not a bad thing. Reality is, it's actually the only thing, because reality leads to truth. And if you have truth, then you can make better decisions, right? And you can manage it better.
Manage your expectations.
I had
too.
so much disappointment in high school when it came to the collegiate recruiting world. My spirit, my body, and my soul, and my mind, I was about to start for the San Francisco 49ers coming out of high school. I didn't even need to go to college.
Right.
You want to talk to me back then? No way. I don't need that. But the reality is, I'm not that. And that's okay. And players go through that all the time. And it's kind of sad on one level, because our expectations and dreams and hopes, of playing for the Niners may or may not happen. And they probably won't happen. Even playing college football on TV in front of 80,000 people, for most of us, is not going to happen. And if we know that, we can still strive to get that.
Sure.
I'm not the one making those decisions. Coach Franklin at Penn State is. Hey, Coach Franklin, you want to come to here and look at all of our kids and take them all and go to Sarah? Everybody's a winner. I'd say I'm signing right here.
Exactly.
Where's the blood mark? You get them all every year. Every time 30 seniors go, they're all getting full rides to Penn State. We want that. So, college recruiting, again, we're off topic again,
Totally,
which is fine.
we
But
digress.
I know people love to hear about the recruiting thing. Like someday I'm going to do
Well, I think you've answered a lot of questions that people have. I mean, just even separating the the NIL versus the portal.
The portal, yeah.
And just what how you welcome the coaches here. A couple other questions that don't really have to do with college, but actually have to do with high school. There were a lot of questions that people asked. Is rugby beneficial to then playing football, right?
Good question.
And then also, how valuable are the 7-on-7 camps in the off season?
Okay. So we are starting a rugby club at Sarah this year. It'll be our first time ever starting a rugby club. Rugby is a great transition sport because you take your pads off and you actually have to learn how to tackle. Mm-hmm. So some of the best tacklers we have on our team have a history of rugby. It's a team sport. It's a tough sport. It's totally different than it's like football was back in the 1800s when it first started. No helmets and/or leather helmets.
Right.
It's not 1st and 10. Like you can give up a little bit of yards. And it's a beautiful game. And we'll be starting that rugby club this year for the kids that really want to do it in the spring.
That's really exciting.
So there is some very good crossover between rugby and football. The other question was
just how valuable the 7-on-7.
7-on-7. Okay. 7-on-7, I believe it's kind of like saying I don't like texting or I don't like the internet. Like I don't need that stuff. Okay. 7-on-7 is happening whether we like it or not. And kids are going to play it whether we like it or not, we being the coaches. Mm-hmm. I hate that 7-on-7 stuff. Okay? It's happening. So it's time to embrace it. You feel me?
Yep, I do.
So now we being controlling coaches like to control everything naturally. Like, this is our program. This is the way we do it at Sarah. Like we don't do that here. Kids are playing 7-on-7s all around the place. And I know Coach Omari Green up at College of San Mateo is starting for the first time a peninsula-based 7-on-7 team that's going to attract kids from San Francisco to San Jose.
Oh, regional. Very cool.
Right? Because right now our kids are driving to the East Bay. The kids are driving to San Jose. The kids are, all of our kids from San, there is no really good 7-on-7 team in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I know Coach Omari Green's going to do it with Jaden's dad.
Oh, really?
And I know kids from all over the WCAL and local public school kids are going to have a chance to try out and be a part of it. I think it's great.
I think it's great too.
Right? So going back to embracing it. Hey, shoot, we got a local guy doing it. And I just publicize it right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay? But I want to make sure people understand the purpose of it. Okay? No one's getting recruited at a 7-on-7. High school football is, at this age, is the last bastion of truth for if a kid can play 11-on-11 tackle football or not, okay? And that's just, I want people to understand that because I think a lot of people feel like, I got to spend $1,500 to go to this tournament and they're playing in Las Vegas and there's going to be college coaches there. None of that matters. None of it, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't have anything else to do, I would say go play another sport. Go play rugby. Go play baseball. Go run track. Do something else.
Right. You've always said that. You've been a big
That would be my number one thing. Go get on the baseball team.
Right.
Go spit some seeds and BS in the dugout. That's some of the best times of my life, right? You're going to be fine, okay? Again, God's going to have more to do this than anything else.
Right.
So take a deep breath. Ask God where you're at this moment, okay? And go find a place to play with what you are.
Right.
The flip side of that, though, is you get a lot of repetitions. So you can become a better wide receiver. You can become a better linebacker. You can become a better running back for catching. You can become, a better DB. You can work on your technique. So if that's something you really want to do, I think the 7-on-7 world is good for you. And I've seen kids improve because they're just getting more reps. And so for that, there's the pluses and the negatives of it all.
That's funny. I love the call out questions because you really see where the public is. I mean, people love football. And we talked about it with Next Level and the fact that you've really increased the awareness of football at a young age around here and obviously in many places in our country. But definitely, here, I mean, my Carson's been playing since kindergarten, that my Connor didn't because it wasn't available. So it's really cool. And I wonder, I mean, it's really gaining popularity, in general.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I support anything that drives football because football for us is a life-changing endeavor that drives people closer to one another. So if this leads to that, great.
Football is family. You've always said that. That's great. Well, wonderful. Well, I want to just thank you, and I want to thank the coaches. This is our last podcast, and I just, again, another wonderful year. You guys give it your all, and it shows. These boys are happy. You guys keep them healthy and loved, and your program's just amazing. So I want to just express my gratitude. I know I speak on behalf of anybody and everybody here, so thank you.
It's been fun, and this has been fun because I've been hearing just from you and some other people. I try to stay away as much as possible, but the different range of people who actually listen to this podcast is really cool. So we'll be back at it in 2023.
Yes, we will. And before then, go Padres. It's going to be a great game. Thank you for treating our boys like local celebrities. They love it, so it's really awesome. So go Padres.
Go Padres.
Thanks, Patrick. Yay.